So, this is my copy of Sonic CD. Let's take a look at the disc and the instruction manual. I always thought this had a 2-player mode, but I think that might have just been for the PC version. That's a cool looking picture there. And a really nice looking disc as well. That's really smart. I did back it up. So let's have a quick look at the manual. Like other Sega manuals, it is in black and white. You can see here they do acknowledge that there's a few different combinations of Mega CD and Mega Drive models, but they are all compatible with each other. Sometimes these manuals go into detail a little bit too much, where it's telling you how to turn on your machine and stuff like that. But there's some nice artwork in here, even though it's black and white. Like this. It's a shame most games don't come with manuals anymore. So this is my Mega Drive and Mega CD 2. Mega Drive Model 1 and Mega CD 2. So I'll just pop disc in there. I've had a lot of trouble recording this video. It would have been a lot easier for me just to play the Steam version of the game. It would have been a lot more reliable. Now, if you're like me and you play games on real hardware, then you do have to accept that these are very old machines sometimes, and they might not be as reliable as they were when they were new. If I touch my Mega Drive slightly, then it might reset the whole thing. And you can imagine if you've got a controller in there, it might jog it just enough to reset it. So I have had a lot of trouble. Thankfully, I haven't had any trouble with loading or disk access or anything like that. Let's play some Sonic CD. I don't know why I recorded this BIOS screen for so long. didn't want to talk over that. I think Sega got the presentation for this game absolutely spot on. The title screen, the music, the FMV intro. So now on to the game. That beginning bit looks like he's just running up a really long ramp, but I think that's supposed to be a loop-de-loop. Anyway, here we go. There's some sneaky power sneakers to the left there. And already I've travelled into the past. So I guess this is a good time to mention that the main gimmick in this game is that you can travel to different time zones within the levels themselves. And it does change the layout of the levels very slightly. There's almost no differences, but there is a point to travelling to the different time zones. What you should do first is travel into the past like I have here, and you can destroy that machine. And there's another machine. That is the beginnings of Dr. Robotnik taking over the zone. If you destroy both of those machines in all of the acts, then you'll get a good future. There's the second machine. I thought I was going to destroy it then, but I just landed on top of it. It's not a very smooth transition because I had to do some editing. I had some desync issues first of all, so there's usually a bit of a pause at the beginning of these acts. Ah, some more power sneakers. So if I can find another past signpost, then I should be able to very easily time travel again. I'm pretty sure there is one around here in this little starting area. It does kind of sound like they say pasta and not past. Oh no, I've lost it. I slowed down a little bit too much, so I've lost it. If I jump just right, then I can get in that little area. There we go. And I can time travel again. Now, of course, this isn't the only way to play the game. You can just play the game like a normal platformer, from left to right. But there's a good ending and a bad ending. Alright, so that's the first machine. I'm actually more familiar with this now. This is my second attempt at doing this video, and I think it's going to make it a better video because I'm more familiar with the layouts of the levels now. This seems to me to be a really popular game with Sonic fans, or perhaps just older Sonic fans. But it's a game that I never got a chance to play at the time because there was absolutely zero chance of me ever buying a Mega CD. We did get a Mega Drive eventually, but we just was never going to pay the money to get a Mega CD. I don't think we got any new Mega Drive games for a really long time. We just ended up with the pack-in games we had. Ah, special stage. This special stage makes me think that there was a internal aim when making this game to show off the Mega CD hardware as much as possible. And as you can see, it uses that rotating playfield thing that a couple of different consoles could do. And you just have to jump up and smash them UFOs. It's not really that difficult. And you get a time stone. This is the boss act, and I have a good future now. By default, you would have a bad future in the third act because I destroyed all of the machines. I have a good future, and it doesn't really change very much, but this is how you get, or at least I think this is one of the ways that you get the good ending. Oh, I'll just try and get that extra life if I can. It's a nice easy boss act because you can collect rings. Some of the Master System games have a third boss act, but there's no rings in the act. I'm thinking of Sonic 1 on the Master System. But these bosses are always quite easy in Sonic CD. Alright, so that's Palm Tree Panic. Collision Chaos. Oh yeah, this is where we meet Amy for the first time. So I guess this is a little bit like Sonic 3, where you see some very short scenes in the game. Like you see Knuckles every now and then in Sonic 3, but in this one you see Amy. But actually you only see her here, and then when you rescue her later on. And I think that's a bit weird, because the Metal Sonic, whose name I've forgotten, is he just called Metal Sonic or is he called Metallics? They show off those two characters, or they showed off those two characters quite a lot in the advertising for this game. But they don't appear in the game very much at all. I think it would be nice if you saw those two characters a bit more in the game. Yeah, this music's really cool. So what they've done here is that they've set up this little area to make it easy for you to travel to the past, which is quite nice when they do that, because the way these levels are designed, there's very, very few long straight lines for you to be able to time travel. So now I'm in the past, and you know what, I might be able to find the two machines in this. I'm not that familiar with all of these levels, beyond the first one, although I have played through this game 2 or 3 times now. And these levels aren't very big. I'll just put up a map here just to show you that these levels aren't actually huge. But sometimes they do seem to waste massive chunks of the level on what looks to me like scattered about obstacles, but it just looks a bit scruffy, and it sort of shows that this game was made by different people to the ones that made the later Mega Drive games. I think that the teams were split in half after Sonic 1. Some of them went to America and some of them stayed in Japan, and this game is pretty much an alternative Sonic 2. This one retreads the same ground of Sonic 1 more than Sonic 2 does. You could argue that this particular zone is the Sonic CD equivalent of Spring Yard Zone. Oh, come on, Andrew. I could have avoided that. You see that item box that's stuck inside the wall. You do see things like that occasionally in this game, and at first I thought it just made the game look really scruffy. I think it's supposed to be a little incentive to time travel. I mean, it doesn't bother me in the slightest because it's just a 10-ring item box. When this game was released, people played games differently back then. They would play a game a lot more. And believe me, I played the few games that I had a lot. So little things like that is like replay value, because next time you come to this level, you might want to find that same spot in a different time zone just to collect that item box. In fact, nowadays you could probably look on the internet and there's probably a complete guide. I failed to make a good future in that particular zone, so now we have a bad future for the boss, and I've basically ruined my chances of getting a good ending via this route. I think it's still possible if you collect all of the time stones from the special stages. Now this is where things got frustrating for me the first time I played this game, and that's because this boss area can bounce you around all over the place and you feel like you have no control over it. When I recorded my video for the first time, this took me well over 4 minutes, but as you can see here, I've completed it relatively quickly. Slow down aside. And that is Collision Chaos. Sonic drops down in a bit of a weird way. Looks a bit scruffy, doesn't it? Actually, it reminds me of Knuckles Chaotix. This might sound weird, but I'm more familiar with Knuckles Chaotix than I am with this game, because I bought a 32X quite a few years ago, but the characters sort of snap into place when the level starts. And I always thought that was really scruffy because that game was rushed, but that's the impression I got. Oh, I've died. Well, that caught me out a little bit there. I don't think this game was rushed. I think this game was delayed quite a lot because it was difficult to make a new game for quite complicated hardware. Yeah, Tidal Tempest. I did have a failed attempt at doing this video before, and I stopped because of audio desync issues. When I got to do the narration for this particular level, I kind of failed to properly explain that I don't really like this level. No, I don't really dislike the level. But I think that I'm much more familiar with some of the other water levels, and I even quite like Labyrinth Zone because there's some nice tight platforming that requires a bit of skill to get through, and you do have that danger of running out of time, of drowning. But what they've done with this level is that they've made it look like Labyrinth Zone, so you do get the feeling that it is Sonic CD's equivalent of Labyrinth Zone rather than an entirely new idea. But they've made it so open that you sort of breeze through it and then it's gone. And it's not really very memorable, aside from the really atmospheric music. But one of my favourite zones in the whole 16-bit Sonic series is Hydra City Zone. And I think that is a water level done right, because it's a water level, but it's probably the fastest level in the entire series. It's really, really fast. And this one, no, but I do have to give the developers credit, because I can understand the way Sonic CD works. You would have to explore the levels, so it's designed in such a way where there's multiple paths, and you know, so you have to search out for those two machines. So I do have to give them credit that they've not made it a really long, tight maze. From that perspective, a nice open level is perfectly fine. But they've just added loads and loads of gimmicks into it, and yeah, you just sort of, you get through it and then it's over and then it's on to the next level. I don't know, maybe I would have had a different opinion if I'd played this originally in 1993. There's a nice little secret that I've never found before. I don't think I've explained this before, but you can see that I have the past next to my lives down the bottom there. If you get up to a certain speed but then lose it again, you'll lose your ability to time travel completely. But I've managed to travel into the past. I think probably for the first time ever. Oh wow, I found one of the machines. Now here's something that I've not talked about yet as well. For some reason, all of the past acts in this game play the music via the Mega CD's sound chip. The Mega CD is pretty complicated hardware. Even though you need the Mega Drive plugged into it for it to work, it does have its own processor, but it also has its own sound chip. So in the normal levels and throughout the whole rest of the game, the music is CD music, but in the past acts, it uses the sample-based sound chip, and to be honest with you, it sounds really, really good. Hey, so we have another special stage, and you get a different background, completely different artwork as well. So that's really cool. I mean, when I think about it, there really is a lot of content in this game. I'm sure Sega had the intention of really showing off the difference that a CD can make to a game. And it must have been a bit of a struggle because 16-bit graphics and 16-bit games don't really take up a lot of space. So a CD is a little bit too much. But they've added so much content in this game. You know, you've got the different time zones to travel to, and you don't even need to travel to the bad future, but you can do. Sonic even has 2 different ways to gain speed on the spot, which is really weird, but that's how it is. Maybe there's a gameplay reason why there's 2 different ways of building up speed. Something that's far too advanced for me to know. Yeah, this is the Tidal Tempest boss. And I have a bad future again because I failed to get a good future in both of the acts preceding this one. Because it's a bad future, everything's been roboticized. Why didn't he move out of the way? Oh wow, immense amounts of slowdown here. Yeah, so again, these bosses do take a very unique approach. It's a bit weird actually because the super duper Mega CD can't handle a few bubbles on screen. I don't really know why it slows down so much. I'm going to end part 1 there because this video is really long.